publication of the much anticipated Porter's Review. It was an independent review of the future of our high streets, written by one of the UK's most visible observers of the high street. It's generated reactions ranging from the banal and the dismissive to the considered and the constructive. But now, with spring almost upon us, the instant pundits have had their say and the government response is eagerly awaited at the end of this month. It's time to revisit the report's recommendations and examine their value. Some politicians with headlines in mind already urge the government to bring forward its response and take urgent action to counter the high street crisis. But my personal view is to counsel caution. Knee-jerk reactions are not the answer. We didn't get into this, mess, if you like to call it that, overnight, and we won't fix it with a magic bullet or quick fix. In my view, what we find in Porteous' 50 pages is a prescription containing a bit of nasty tasting medicine for each of the vested interests locked in the never-ending struggle over the high street. So those are the planners, the politicians, the landlords and retailers. But as with all medicines, the trick is to cure the disease without killing the patient. So, coming to the report as I did as a slight sceptic, eager to find fault with her recommendations, I found my initial doubts allayed by detailed reading of the background material and her reluctance to apportion blame for the mess we're in. Whilst most of the comments I've read from the likes of the British Council for Shopping Centres, the Association of Convenience Stores, the British Property Federation and the CBRE broadly welcomed the measures, others were less magnanimous. On one side, Stuart Rose, ex of M&S, appeared content with the status quo, saying you can't defy gravity, and accused Mary of trying to push water uphill. Others were somewhat less temperate. Lord Wolfson, next, when the report first came out, called the proposal to introduce the exceptional sign-off for out-of-town developments by the Secretary of State as just insane. In my view, Porter's Review attempts to take a holistic view of the high street's troubles, acknowledges its societal and community role in providing an expression of local identity, a brand if you will, not just its economic impact. As stated in the foreword, this may sound hopelessly idealistic, but those who see high streets purely as a commercial retail need to think again. However, governments of every stripe have a tendency to do either one of two things with ideas that challenge the orthodoxy. One is to kick them into the long grass or bury them in platitudes and forget them. Either way, they end up gathering dust on a shelf somewhere, which is what's happened to 15 previous reports. Two, they adopt the fun, sexy, headline-grabbing short-term expedients and ignore the difficult and tedious bits. The initiative light approach, I call it, and it tends to mean the whole thing goes off half-cocked. Personal view here, I have a slight suspicion that the local government minister's competition to choose 12 towns to become Porter's pilots, with the winners benefiting from a share of a £1 million bonus, fits into the latter category. Personally, I believe this report deserves better. Tempting as it might be to try and dismiss the Porter's Review as window dressing, it contains some joined-up thinking, involves all parties in the venture, doesn't succumb to the blame culture or populism.